Fear gripped the walls of Ur. Then the Akkadians came with fire and steel. At their head stood Sargon. From Kish, his armies swept across summer. In a single lifetime, Sargon built the most powerful empire the known world had ever seen. Sargon of Akkad, the first emperor. To understand how Sargon changed the world, we must travel back almost 7 centuries before his reign to the lands of Sumer around 3000 BC. Here, between the Tigris and Euphrates, people had transformed an unforgiving plain into one of the richest regions of the ancient world. By digging canals and controlling the rivers, the Sumerians turned dry soil into fertile fields. Food production increased, populations grew, and small settlements became great cities. Uruk, Ur, Lagash, Gumma, Kish. But Sumer was not a single kingdom. It was a land of rival city-states, each ruled by its own king, protected by its own god, and frequently at war with its neighbors. Their rivers had given them wealth, and that wealth could soon attract new peoples from beyond the borders of Sumer. Among them were Semitic-speaking communities who gradually settled across central and northern Mesopotamia. They did not arrive as a single invading army. They came over generations, as families, herders, laborers, merchants, and soldiers. Many robbed the fields, tended the animals, and took the canals on which Sumerian prosperity depended. Others entered workshops, markets, temples, and royal courts. They lived beside the Sumerians, adopted many of their traditions, and spoke a language that would later be known as Akkadian. Nowhere was their presence stronger than around the city of Kish. By the middle of the 3rd millennium BC, they were no longer outsiders. They had become a rising political force. And from the streets of Kish, one of them will soon change the world. Kish did not see a new king coming. It was soldiers. When the struggle ended, Sargon stood at the center of power. But he had not been born a prince. Later tradition remembered him as the son of a gardener. He rose inside the palace of Ur-Zababa and became the king's cupbearer, a servant trusted to stand beside the throne. Then came a dream. The goddess Inanna drowned Ur-Zababa in a river of blood. The king understood the warning. His servant had become a threat. The first attempt on Sargon's life failed. Then Ur-Zababa sent him away, carrying his own death sentence. And at that moment, the surviving story breaks apart. We do not know how Sargon survived. But when history speaks again, the cupbearer is gone. In his place stands a king. But Sargon was not the only man rising in Mesopotamia. To the south, Lugal-Zaggisi had united the cities of Sumer. Two kings, one land. War was inevitable. Lugal-Zaggisi controlled the cities of Sumer. Sargon controlled little more than his new power base in the north. But Sargon did not wait for his enemy to become stronger. He marched south and struck directly at Uruk, the heart of Lugal-Zaggisi's kingdom. The armies met and Lugal-Zaggisi was defeated. Uruk fell, its walls were torn down, and its king was captured. Sargon placed a wooden yoke around his rival's neck and displayed him before the temple of Enlil. The ruler of Sumer had become a prisoner. With Lugal-Zaggisi removed, the cities of Sumer stood exposed. Sargon advanced south. Ur fell, Lagash fell, Guma fell. One by one, the ancient city-states lost their independence. When his army finally reached the Persian Gulf, Sargon washed his weapons in the sea. It was a declaration that the lands of Sumer now belonged to Akkad, but conquering Sumer was easier than controlling it. Sargon placed loyal governors and Akkadian garrisons inside the defeated cities. His daughter, Enheduanna, became high priestess at Ur, linking the new dynasty to the religious traditions of Sumer. From his new capital, Agade, Sargon began transforming conquests into an empire. His armies then crossed beyond the old borders of Sumer. To the east, they defeated the rulers of Elam and advanced toward Susa. To the north, they followed the Tigris and Euphrates into Upper Mesopotamia. Then they turned west, carrying Akkadian power toward Mari, Ebla, and the mountains of Syria. Some cities were conquered, others submitted, paid tribute, and opened their trade routes. A kingdom that had begun around Kish now stretched across much of the known world. Different cities, languages, and peoples had been placed beneath the authority of one dynasty. For the first time, Mesopotamia was ruled not as a collection of rival cities, but as the center of an empire. The gardener's son had defeated kings, conquered Sumer, and created the most powerful state of his age. Sargon had not merely built a kingdom, he had begun the age of empires.